I watched her lie while she thought I couldn't see now. It's over, Mike. I'm putting you in charge of everything from now on. I signed my name on the divorce papers, and right then, almost like fate, I got a call from the police station. Your new household registration book and ID card are ready. When I arrived to pick up the documents, the young staff member paused, a flicker of hesitation crossing his face before he spoke. Excuse me, are you Mr. Nick? Everyone in City M knows the heiress Summer has a husband she loves deeply, a man named Nick. I smiled gently and shook my head. No, the Nick from this world is gone. I'm Frank now. While waiting for my eye checkup at the hospital, a TV in the room played Summer's interview. Calm and composed as always, her voice suddenly broke when she mentioned me. Nick went blind trying to save me in a fire. Now he can never return to the stage he loves. I've decided to devote the rest of my life to protecting and cherishing him with all my heart. Seeing him struggle with daily life when he could have been gliding on tiptoes on stage, it just tears me apart. I heard a nurse whisper with envy, Summer married Nick right after college, even though her family opposed it. After they got married, she showed off their love so much, it felt like even the stars in the sky belonged to them. I froze. My grip on the hospital bed's handrail tightened. Everyone in City M knows the wealthy Summer sees her husband as more important than her own life. Back in high school, when my parents divorced, my stepmother kicked me out. I fainted in the snow, cold and hopeless. It was Summer who found me, who took me in. She fed me, clothed me, paid for my education, even supported me learning ballet. I lost my eyesight saving her in that fire, but Summer never left me. She married me right after I graduated, going against her entire family. One freezing December night, she knelt in the snow wearing nothing but a thin dress, begging her parents to accept me. The Millers finally relented, but she ended up sick and feverish, lying in a hospital bed, clutching that engagement ring tightly in her hand. Summer knew, because of my broken family, because I had watched my own father bring his mistress in too. Our home, while my mother cried herself to sleep, I was always too afraid to believe in love. But on our wedding day, Summer knelt on one knee, her eyes sincere. Nick, I promise to spend my entire life loving and cherishing you. There will never be betrayal or lies between us. I will be faithful to you for eternity. And she kept that promise. Over 5 years of marriage, she gave me nothing but endless love and care. But the day my vision came back, everything changed. I came home and saw her with my stepbrother Charlie. In our house, in our space, wrapped in each other. That's when I realized his frequent visits had nothing to do with family. They were lovers. Every time Summer offered to pick up my medication so lovingly, she wasn't doing it for me. It was just an excuse to spend more time with him. I didn't tell anyone my sight had returned. I pretended I was still blind. And with blurred vision, I watched them kiss. Right in front of me. I accidentally dropped a glass, and it shattered. I cut my hand picking up the shards. Summer rushed over, worried, grabbing my hand. But the pain in my chest, it was far worse than the bleeding. I didn't expose them. I kept pretending. But behind the scenes, I was preparing and getting ready to leave. When I left the hospital, I got an email. Mr. Frank, we've seen your performance videos. Even though you've been off the stage for a while, we believe we can make the stage shine. Together with you, we await you in Paris. Before I went blind, a ballet company in France had reached out to me. Back then, I was a star, mesmerizing on stage. I refused their offer because I didn't want to leave Summer, but now, she's the one who's forced me to choose. Thanks. I'll arrive in Paris in a week. See you then. I took off my ring. Felt like shedding every burden I'd carried. No more arguments, no more drama. No more apologies on cold knees. I wanted to disappear from Summer's world. I wanted her to feel powerless even, with all her influence in City M. I wanted her to live with regret for the rest of her life. Put on my sunglasses. Slipped the ring into my bag. 7 days from now, there would be no more Nick. When I got home, Summer rushed toward me, anxious. Nick, where were you? Why didn't you answer your phone? She frowned, taking the bag from my hands. She was wearing different clothes from earlier, and the laundry scent wasn't ours. I forced a smile and handed her a fake diagnostic report. "I went for my eye checkup," the doctor said. "It's aren't looking too great." Summer helped me to the couch, carefully placing a warm cup of water in my hands. "How could you just run off like that?" You know how worried Charlie emerged from our bedroom? He was still wearing my pajamas. The collar was open, covered in hickeys. His gaze was locked on Summer, full of desire. I kept my expression calm, pretending not to notice, recognizing his voice. "When did Charlie get here?" Inside, I was burning. I tightened my grip on the cup. "Mom asked me to bring some supplements for you," he said. "They're good for your eyes. Should recover soon. The Dance Association in City M has given me the lead dancer spot which used to be yours." His smile was gentle, almost innocent, but his words cut like knives. I said nothing. Knew Charlie's talent. It was nothing close to what it took to be the lead. His sudden success over the last year, now it made sense. Summer must have helped him. "I've got work to do at the company," Summer said, putting the vitamins beside me and preparing some fruit. "Nick, get some rest. I'll come home early to keep you company." Then she glanced at Charlie. He got the message immediately. "Dance troupe has practiced today too, so I'll be heading out." I saw them off with a calm smile, but from the balcony, I watched. I waited. I timed it. They didn't walk far. And then they were kissing. Passionately moments later, Charlie cradled Summer and laid her down on the back seat of her car. He leaned in. They didn't even bother closing the door. I took photos. I sent them to Mike. The vehicle swayed gently as it moved, but inside I was fighting to steady my breathing. The dull pain in my heart twisted like a sharp knife, leaving me breathless. Summer and I had known each other for 10 years, married for 5. Never once doubted that she was the woman I'd spend the rest of my life with. But the same woman who once vowed to love me forever. Let those promises fade away in just 5 short years. Wiping away my tears, I turned toward Summer's study. My fingers punched in the code to her safe-like muscle memory. Inside were a few contracts. I reached for them, and my heart sank. Every top ballet resource I had fought so hard to earn in the lead role, promised to me by the Dance Association, had been handed over to Charlie. As a gift from Summer. Maybe she thought, since I'd gone blind, I'd never be on stage again. But the last contract, the one buried at the bottom, made my blood run cold. It was signed 2 years ago. Back then, I hadn't lost my sight. I was still conquering the ballet stage with every step. I lost the lead role for the one show that meant everything to Mila Bayadir just a day before the performance. They replaced me with Charlie. The director told me Charlie was better, suited for the part. I stared at my bruised body, battered from endless rehearsals, and cried through the night. Still, I sat in the audience and applauded my brother, my voice shaky. My heart shattered, watching me from the wings. Summer's eyes turned red. Her voice was hoarse but warm, full of care. "Nick, it'll be okay. There'll be another chance." Performance was flawless. She had me completely fooled. But it turns out the person who stabbed me in the back, the one I trusted and relied on the most, was her. My wife, my partner. Seems like their relationship had started long before I ever suspected. I thought I'd fall apart. Thought I'd cry until I couldn't breathe. But facing it head on, seeing it with my own eyes, made me realize something. True despair doesn't scream. It's silent. It marks a broken heart. "Nick, today's our 5th anniversary," Summer said as she entered, holding flowers. Her right hand clutched luxury shopping bags. She pulled out a watch and gently placed it on my wrist. "This watch suits you. I customized it just in time for our anniversary." I felt the weight of it, smiled faintly at her, then quietly handed her a gift box inside, the signed divorce papers. "Summer, this is my gift to you." Her face lit up, excitement dancing in her eyes as she reached to untie the ribbon. "Open it in a week. It's a surprise," I told her, my voice steady. "All right, I'll listen to you, Nick," she said sweetly. She placed the box in the display cabinet, then took my hand. "I've made reservations. We're celebrating there tonight." Every year, we spent our anniversary at Rose Restaurant. Summer said it was the perfect place you could see the whole City night view from the window. This year, she'd even arranged a grand fireworks show at 8 p.m., though I couldn't see it anymore. The sound painted pictures in my mind. Momentary. Bursts of light dancing against the night sky. On the way there, Summer helped me into the passenger seat and then went to the trunk, saying she needed to get a blanket. That's when I noticed a thin sheet of paper tucked into the door pocket. I reached for it. My hands trembled as I read it. Summer's pregnancy test results. She was pregnant with Charlie's child. Since I lost my sight, we'd rarely been intimate. Whenever she kissed my eyes, I instinctively pulled away. She never got upset. She'd just hold me, her breath shaky, planting soft kisses on my forehead. "Nick, don't worry. I'm here for you." But what I couldn't give her, she gave to Charlie. I put the paper back, breath caught in my throat. Her phone was connected to the car's Bluetooth. Curious and uneasy, I turned toward her. She was standing by the back of the car, texting. I opened the chat. It was Charlie. "I'm coming with you." "Don't be silly. It's Nick's and my anniversary. Stay home. I'll come over after dinner. I was there last time too, right at the next table. He won't find out." No wonder. Last anniversary, she kept making excuses to leave the table. After a pause, she agreed. "Fine, we'll go first. You take a cab." I laughed quietly and turned off the screen. That blanket had taken her 10 minutes to find, not because she couldn't, but because her heart was elsewhere. Dinner was tasteless. Summer kept soothing me with sweet words while her eyes drifted constantly toward the next table toward. At 8 p.m. the fireworks began. Charlie inched closer to the window. I turned away from the view and kept my expression calm, holding on tight to myself. I refused to let anything show. The sky exploded in brilliant colors. Each burst sounded like a memory being torn from me. Once my name had been spelled in the sky with fireworks, now it was gone. From the corner of my eye, I saw Charlie throw himself into Summer's arms. I kissed right there, thinking I couldn't see them. In their carelessness, they forgot that even blind eyes can feel betrayal. In the chaos, my mind wandered back to our first anniversary. Summer had hugged me from behind at this very spot. Her eyes had glistened with tears. "I'll light the most spectacular fireworks for you every year," she had said. "I'll show the world, Nick, that you're my one true love." A decade of memories. It's turned out to be nothing but a dream. A beautifully crafted illusion of love. But now I was awake. It was time to leave. My new ID and passport were ready. Tomorrow I'd be flying to Paris. The next morning, I calmly got up and made breakfast. I even prepared Summer's portion. "Nick, why are you up so early?" Summer asked, surprised to see the table set. She hesitated, then walked over and took my hand. My fingers were covered in tiny cuts and burns from unfamiliarity with knives and hot oil. "You can't even see." "Why cook?" she asked softly. "Lucy will be here soon."
Ow.
"Doesn't this hurt?" Tears slipped down her cheeks as she gently held my hands. Her performance was flawless again. If I hadn't seen it all myself, I would have believed her. "I'm fine," I said. "Just thought I'd cook. It's been a while." I'd already asked Lucy to come later by then. I'd be gone from City. I tried to pull my hand away, but Summer held on, guiding me to the living room and applying ointment carefully. "My husband's hands are too beautiful to mar," she whispered. I watched her as she worked, the top of her head bent in concentration. My throat burned with the need to ask her why, but I bit it back. Then her phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. "Heaven Hotel Room 1012. It was from Charlie. When Summer came back, I kept my expression neutral. "Summer, your phone went off earlier," I said. I might have brushed it while checking. She saw the bold, explicit photo Charlie had sent. She quickly picked up her phone, froze for a moment, then seemed to relax, comforted by the sight of my blank, unseeing eyes. I kept my face calm, though inside. My hands were shaking. "The hospital messaged," she said smoothly. "Get your new meds. Wait at home. I'll be back soon." always so convincing. They'd even made the effort to meet at a hotel this early to keep the act going. Summer. "Goodbye," I said quietly. My words caught her off guard. She gave me a confused smile. "Nick, wait for me to come back." The door clicked shut, and I breathed. Finally wait for her. Never again. I quickly packed my bags, gathered every trace of myself from the house, called the junkyard to take away everything. Sitting in a cab heading to the airport, my phone buzzed. It was from Charlie. He said he knew Summer was pregnant with his child. Of course, he didn't want to be a secret anymore. He sent photo after photo, intimate moments, chat logs, including Summer's pregnancy results. I flipped through them one by one. My chest ached dully, but it didn't hurt the way it used to, until I saw a log from just a month after I went blind. Summer hadn't wasted a moment, transferring my ballet resources to Charlie the day they broke the taboo. The woman I loved deeply, my wife, was already with my stepbrother. I had lost my sight saving her. I sent her one last message. "Remember to open the gift when you get home." Then I pulled out my SIM card and tossed it into the trash as the flight announcement echoed. I took one last look at the glowing sign of City M. From this moment on, Nick no longer exists in this world. I'm Frank now. Back at home, Summer looked down at my message. She sent a few replies urging me to rest and promising she'd return tomorrow. When she got no response, she assumed I'd fallen asleep. Since I lost my sight, my moods had been quiet, my health fragile. But I stuck to a routine, always. When she saw the pregnancy results, Summer was stunned and delighted. She'd always wanted a child? Delighted, but shocked, because she never imagined it would be Charlie's. Yes, they'd had a few encounters. Charlie seduced her. And she gave in, but in her heart, her child had to be mine to her. Charlie was just a fling. Her husband would always be her husband. Standing by the window, Summer didn't feel happy. Not really. What if Nick found out? Her brow furrowed at the thought of my gentle, obedient demeanor. No, he wouldn't find out. "Summer, what do you think about the kid?" Charlie asked. Unease crept into his voice. He thought she'd be more excited, but that blind brother of his, not only was he in poor health, he was gone, but also resisted intimacy. Charlie knew this, so he seduced Summer more, hoping one day the child would help him climb in status. But it was clear Summer wasn't interested in that. Her face clouded, her voice cold. "You've been worn out recently. Why don't you take a break and skip dancing for now? As for the child, we'll talk about it later." She was already figuring out an excuse, claiming adoption. After all, Nick couldn't know she was pregnant. "Now I'm heading home." "Let's not meet for a while." "Why?" Charlie felt aggrieved, biting his lip, about to cry. "I need to take care of Nick, too." "Haven't I spent enough time with you already?" Summer dodged. "I'll visit you in a few days. Be good." Charlie dared not stop her, full of grievances against his brother. When is that sickly brother going to get a divorce? He scrolled through their chat. No replies from Nick. The car sped home. Summer looked at the dark balcony, thinking Nick was already asleep. Lucy, the maid, welcomed her with a light. Summer handed over her coat, casually asking, "Is Nick asleep yet?" Lucy, surprised and stammering, replied, "No. He messaged me this morning to come back later tonight. When I arrived, no one was home. I thought you both had other plans." Every word, Summer's eyes darkened. Did he say anything else? Nothing more? Lucy's face turned pale, fearing she might upset the woman before her. "Okay, you can go." Summer dialed Nick's number, clutching the phone, her expression turning darker. She waited a few seconds, but only got the automated voicemail of a shutoff. Phone, she hurried upstairs and called her assistant, Jenny. "Check all of Nick's call records. Now, look into his documents. See if there are any immigration records." Summer's voice was colder than ever, but a fierce aura surrounded her. There weren't many places Nick could go. See, where could he run to? With that thought, an impossible notion slowly surfaced in her mind. Also check the hospital diagnostics. I want all the results of his recent rechecks. Hurry up! Recently, Nick had been going to his rechecks alone. She only saw the reports he brought back. She always thought he couldn't see, indulging in her intimacy with Charlie. But what if he could see again? A headache throbbed in Summer's head as she forcefully pushed open the bedroom door. Inside was pitch black, the bed neat and clean. Shaking, she turned on the light and found their framed photo missing from the nightstand. Her anxiety grew. She rushed to check all the rooms one by one. Nick's clothes were gone. His toiletries were gone. Even their wedding photo in the living room. Gone, she stormed into the study, finding the spot for her safe slightly moved. Numbly, she entered. Nick's birthday. Sure enough, the contracts were all rearranged. For a moment, she felt her blood freeze. Nick might know everything. Summer opened the chat with Nick, seeing a message about a gift. Of course, the anniversary gift. Summer broke the locked display cabinet. Even as her hand bled, she didn't feel the pain. She opened the delicately packaged gift box. Inside was a single piece of paper. She didn't dare look, but she had. 2. The glaring words, divorce agreement. Right there on the last page, he'd already signed his name. Summer stared at his neat handwriting, feeling a sharp pain in her heart, suddenly remembering he hadn't been wearing his wedding ring for days now. A sticky note was attached with Mike's number. This is my lawyer's number. She'll handle the divorce matters with you. Just then, Jenny's call came back. Charlie sent some photos and chat logs to Mr. Nick a few hours ago. She received files from Jenny, opening them to find indiscreet evidence of their affair. Summer's vision darkened. Almost fainting, she drove straight to Charlie. Charlie sleepily opened the door. Seeing her, his drowsiness vanished. He was overjoyed, hugging her and whining like usual. Summer, why'd you come back? Before he could finish, Summer slapped him. Charlie was in pain, feeling dizzy, turning back to face a furious Summer. What's wrong with you? He was dazed, unsure how she seemed like a completely different person in just a few hours. Summer grabbed his chin. Charlie, didn't I tell you to keep our affair from Nick? Right, her face darkened, a storm brewing. Charlie's expression changed, thinking maybe Nick had Summer read the messages to him. But how could Nick know? Seeing Charlie deep in thought, her anger boiled over. She slapped him again without mercy. The boy's fair cheeks swelled instantly, blood seeping from his mouth. Without the strength from Summer, he stumbled and fell. Hard onto the ground, Charlie, propping himself up, looked at Summer with a bit of frustration. Summer, he couldn't see. How could he discover what happened? You still have our child in your belly? Please don't get angry, it's not good. For the baby, he bowed down and made a pleading gesture. Summer looked down at him coldly and let out a mocking laugh. Nick probably could see a long time ago. The next moment, Summer kicked Charlie hard in the chest. With one kick, Charlie was thrown to the ground. Summer's belly suddenly hurt. When she felt a warm sensation below, Summer's face turned. Pale, seeing Summer's pained expression, Charlie pleaded desperately. Summer, it's my fault. I didn't know any better. Please go to the hospital. Save our child, won't you? Tears mixed with blood flowed down his cheeks, and Charlie kept hitting his head on the floor. But Summer didn't soften one bit, her face white and gloomy. I'm only dealing with you for Nick's sake, and I'd only have his kids. You think you deserve it? I can't believe you can't see reality and still think you can replace him. From now on, the ballet company will no longer use you, and the unwanted child inside me I will not keep. Her face pale. Beads of sweat dripped down from her forehead. Charlie saw this and his face turned even whiter. Summer, I can stop dancing. But please save our child. It's half your flesh and blood too. Trash like that. Something from you doesn't deserve to be called my child. Summer gasped, holding back nausea. Finally said, I'll go to the hospital now. If the kid's gone, great. If it's still there, I'll arrange for an abortion. It's for you since you like spreading your seed. I'll send you someplace more suitable. Jenny's name flashed. On the screen, Summer slowly crawled to the bathroom and picked up the phone. Svernik, his sight was restored 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. He could see 2 weeks ago. Summer's breathing stopped. Her heart missed a beat, so he'd been able to see all along. He saw the absurdity before her, saw the resources she gave Charlie, saw the fireworks she set off for Charlie. She slowly relaxed her hand, where the skin and flesh had turned grim and terrifying. Nick knew about her betrayal, yet he hid it so well. It's not a hint of anger or sadness exposed. How devastated his heart must have been. How disappointed he must have been in her. Summer had never hated herself as much as she did at this moment. The overwhelming regret seemed to swallow her whole. She dared not think from Nick's perspective how her actions were like being tortured by a killer. Summer choked up a bit, her eyes red. Jenny listened to the sounds on the other side, nervously continuing, "I checked all his records. The police station said he's probably changed his name. There's no trace of Nick anywhere." Hearing this, Summer could no longer hold herself. A pan collapsed into a pool of blood. When I first landed in Paris, the ballet company's lead greeted me warmly. Zephyro was filled with ballet dancers from around the world, all sharing common dreams and striving together. At first, dealing with the time difference and heartache, I found it hard to adjust. Having trouble falling asleep, I took melatonin. To finally get some rest, I'd often dream all night about various moments with Summer. Waking up in the middle of the night, my face would be wet with tears. Eventually, I stopped trying to sleep, spending nights alone at the dance studio practicing, until I was tired enough to crash on the couch. Thankfully, my fellow dancers were friendly and helpful, assisting me when I struggled with unfamiliar moves, helping me endure a difficult time. I gradually adapted to the intense practice and performance lifestyle, and I felt more energetic than ever. The wounds I once thought unbearable slowly healed with time. I got a new number. The only person who could reach me was Mike, who handled my divorce case. 2 weeks after arriving in Paris, Mike called me. "Frank, Summer wants to speak with you personally. No need." The sun was shining as a gentle breeze ruffled my hair. My mind was preoccupied with dance routines. I just learned she can tell me once she's signed the divorce papers. I'll come back to arrange the proceedings. Mike felt a bit troubled, but she insists on seeing you once before agreeing. To the divorce? No problem. We can drag it out. I smiled, unconcerned. If she doesn't sign the papers, she won't find me. Besides, I'm not afraid to take it to court. We have proof of her cheating. Mike seemed relieved upon hearing this. I'll pass your message on to her. Sincerely, Frank, you've changed a lot since our first meeting. You're now confident and carefree, truly living for yourself. Thanks. I hung up and rubbed my hands, feeling the Paris air grow a little colder. After practice, a girl from the company invited me for dinner. We sat in a restaurant and ordered our favorite dishes. Frank, your movements are beautiful. Your technique is precise, yet uniquely yours. Which company did you dance with before? Melody said, adding more food to my bowl, her expression cheerful and warm. I was in M-City before. Melody was curious. Then why the gap in your dancing career? You seem to love ballet a lot. I paused for a moment, then smiled openly. I escaped a fire 2 years ago, but I was blind. I only recently regained my sight a few months ago. Melody showed no awkwardness. Instead, she laughed brightly. Then what do you call that? A will, there's a way. Her positive attitude was infectious, filling me with warmth. Even though I went through emotional betrayal and deceit, I regained my sight, decisively left the lies behind, and could once again do what I loved. Isn't that a form of luck too? Feeling a lump in my throat, I raised my drink to toast with. Melody, you're right. I feel reborn now. Getting the response from Mike, Summer sat hopelessly on the couch. There was no turning back now. She knew Nick was determined to get away from her. She drank one cup after another, ignoring her friends' attempts to stop her. She hoped to numb her aching heart with alcohol, yet memories of better times would still emerge. Summer suddenly recalled their wedding day. Nick knelt on one knee, his eyes full of her. Back then, she'd never imagined she would cheat. She professed her love straightforward and passionate. Betrayal and deceit were things she'd never considered. When did she forget her original intentions? First, she was genuinely touched. She never expected someone to risk their life in a burning building to save her. She felt sorry for Nick, wishing she could trade places and take his blindness. But over time, their mundane life grew dull. Found herself drawn to the fiery Charlie, even getting swept up in hand, giving him the best resources. It wasn't until Nick actually left that summer had a major realization. She couldn't live without Nick. But now Shay had truly lost him. Thinking about this, Summer covered her face in pain, tears squeezing through her fingers. Her brothers exchanged glances, shocked at how things turned out. Nick's stepbrother Charlie was a wreck, and dancing was the least of his concerns. Standing up again was a big question. The Millers were pressing Summer to finalize the divorce quickly before things got out of hand so they could arrange a new marriage. Someone needed to inherit the business. 3 days later, Charlie took to the internet exposing Summer's actions. Determined to fight her, he posted all the evidence, admitting to being her lover. Yet all their boundary-crossing interactions were initiated and accepted by Summer. Herself, Charlie even shared his hospital records with injury assessments. Summer, who was once devoted to her husband, had cheated with his stepbrother, using violence, risking lives. The online world exploded with the news, causing the Millers' stock to plunge. Summer's father, in rage, gave her a few lashes with his belt. Her back was royette. She remained unyielding. Finally, her bedridden grandfather spoke up. "Summer, you're terribly wrong," I begged. "For the chance to marry Nick, yet you didn't treasure it. Now refusing a divorce is just dragging him down, hurting him again. Sign the divorce papers immediately. Deed, handle the company affairs properly. Stop this nonsense." Summer's straight back finally slumped as she lowered her head. She called Mike. "Please tell Nick I'm willing to divorce." Once notified, I arranged my schedule. Flying back from France. After the divorce was finalized, Summer and I exited the Civil Affairs Bureau together. In just 6 months, Summer had changed drastically. Although it was early winter, she wore only a wool coat. I recognized it. It was my wedding gift to her. The once elegant and proud woman was now utterly worn. Her once full face, now gaunt, eyes bloodshot, even her once firm posture slouched. Summer halted me with a low, raspy voice. "Nick, how have you been?" I chuckled silently, waving the divorce papers. "My name's Frank. Nick doesn't exist anymore." "All right, Frank." Her expression fell for a moment, then a hint of color returned. "Are you staying in M City? Maybe we could still be friends sometimes? Could I come see you?" "I'm not staying here," I answered firmly, my expression neutral. "We won't be seeing each other again." I turned to walk away, but Summer grabbed my arm. "I know I was wrong, Frank. I know how terribly wrong I was. Betraying our vows, breaking your trust, even my life was saved thanks to you." Summer gave a bitter smile, tears glistening in her eyes. "Can you give me another chance? I promise never to deceive you again. I'll take care of you, and we'll have a lovely child. If you're still hurt, we could start over. You could let me chase you again. We stopped dreaming, Summer." I cut her off, extinguishing her last hope completely.
How?
Just like she once cruelly did to me. There's no future for us. I'll gradually forget you and start a new life. The icy wind blew, winter's chill numbing. Watching her frail silhouette fade, Summer felt a dull ache in her heart. It was her own doing that severed all the love. Once everything settled, I rushed back to Paris to perform in my dance troupe's first show. The piece I danced was La Bayadere, a performance that once slipped from my grasp but captivated my soul. I stretched my arms, rose up on my toes, and danced, losing myself in the music. My movements were fluid and light. As the performance ended, the applause was deafening. I was ushered forward to deliver the curtain call speech. Holding the mic under the stage's dazzling lights, focused just on MIT felt like a dream. Being back on the beloved ballet stage, but everything around me was real. This reality brought me to tears. With warmth in my eyes, I flashed a confident, bright smile. I thanked my dance troupe friends, ballet, and myself for daring to start over. I broke free from a binding life, now thriving to show my own brilliance. I forgave all the hardships fate once put in my path. What tasted bitter before now turned sweet. I am Frank. From now on, I live for myself alone.